Game number 1, everybody. We are again at the end of the Storm North America. It is the round of 8 in the winner's bracket. We are currently looking at the second half of the winner's bracket, and we have Cloud9 going up against Gust or Bust. And Cursed Hollow is our first map. The patch is 16.5, so it's going to be once again interesting to see Zul in action. We've seen it a couple of times already yesterday, and I suppose the same is going to happen today. Cloud9, the favorite going to this series, and they have in the playoff games already had a bit of an affinity to pick either Greymane early on or ban him out, so that's something that they could do now as well. They also prioritize especially Mirrodin quite highly during the draft, so I'm a little bit curious to see how they are going to react here. The ban on Greymane is confirmed, so at this point there's still Zul around. The question is always, do they really prioritize him? I mean, Cloud9 overall, they love to play with Zeratul, they love to play with an early Mirrodin here. They are very strong when it comes to their drafting overall, and this is something that they are going to try and showcase now against a team like Gust or Bust as well. It's the first series of the day, of course, and in the winner bracket here, we're going to find out which team is going to advance to face the winner of Tempo Storm versus... Yeah, now I'm drawing a blank, but the second game that we are casting from the round of 8 later on today. Zul, about to be banned out, is still pretty sweet when it comes to like pushing lanes and when it comes to like a setup. So that's one of the things that he can actually do really well. But let's check out how exactly they're going to play here. I mean, like, of course, Hollow, you don't really have to ban Zul out. I mean, it really is a playstyle issue, and Zeratul banned over Zul. I actually like that a bit because I feel like Cloud9 is a lot more dangerous with Zeratul than they are with, like, I haven't really seen them too much with the Necromancer, to be absolutely honest with you. But their Zeratul play overall is pretty scary, so I can definitely understand why Gust or Bust saying, like, alright guys, let's just ban out Zeratul for now. I think we can deal with Zul a little bit easier than we can deal with the Zeratul. So Cloud9 has to make that choice first of all if they really want to pick the Necromancer, or if they're just saying, like, yeah, screw him. And as I said before, they prioritize Mirrodin quite highly, and there's the proof right there. Mirrodin immediately as a first pick, locked down. King Caffeine has his hero. I always imagine that King Caffeine at this point just like, alright, screw it boys, I'm AFK, I got my warrior, it's fine, you do your thing, and we'll meet when the game starts. For him, probably at this point, like, Mirrodin locked down, he's happy, and now he's just like going to get a coffee or whatever. Gust or Bust, on the other hand, with the false set lockdown, they have already great control over the map in overall. I mean, like, if they pick him here, he's still a great hero to take. They can decide to go into Zul now if they want, if they feel that the Necromancer is strong enough. But so far, it has been, Necromancer has more or less been disregarded. Li Ming also still available. She was a high priority for a few of the teams yesterday, but it looks a little bit like Gust or Bust is going for that Thrall. So Thrall false stat as the start into the draft for Gust or Bust. Cloud9 now with a lot of options. And that's actually a very different draft from what we've seen so far in all of the games that have been played, not only in the group stage, but also yesterday. So Cloud9 with a ton of options right now. They can decide to lock down Zul, they have the option to go for Li Ming, they can, for example, also pick a healer very early on. Rhaegar is still highly contested by the teams, even though, of course, he lost the self-heal with his Ancestral. He's still very, very strong. Has to play a little bit more passive, which most of the support players don't really like, but still, he has a nice healing power, and that is something, of course, that I'm not really willing to give away. Then again, when you look at the North American meta overall, they actually play a variety of supports, whereas in Europe, you basically have your top 3 and everything else is more or less disregarded. We've seen a couple of Brightwings yesterday as well. Li Ming locked down, and yeah, well, here already comes a bit of an interesting pick into the supports. At Tassadar, this early on would of course open up a few options. It's kind of unlikely that we see a Tassadar solo support from a North American team. Well, we have seen it occasionally, so it's not like they're not playing it at all. It's just a lot less likely than in the European scene where Tassadar as a solo support is still a pretty big deal. Cloud9 could definitely play with the Tassadar solo support, with the Mirrodin, that would work. Li Ming, of course, would then have to be very, very careful, since she is a bit on the squishy side and loves to have like a strong healer next to her. But Gust or Bust is going to react with the first ban right now. And considering the setup that we're already seeing here, they have the option to limit the healer pool even a little bit more if they assume that Cloud9 is aiming for a double heal. I kind of doubt that they're going to do that. It's most likely going to be a ban either on one additional frontliner, or they're going, like maybe a Sonya, for example. You could ban a Sonya out, or you could say, like, okay, range damage is something that we want to get rid of. It depends also a bit on what they want to pick. For example, if they want to if they don't want to pick a Zagara, they could ban Zagara out. Zul is still around, and I guess Gust or Bust at this point says, okay, we don't want the Necromancer, but we also have now finally an opportunity to make sure you are not going to get him either, and therefore they just like ban him out here. Okay, so that's another option for them. I'm still a bit curious if Gust or Bust is going for a Zagara here for like map vision, because she's usually highly valued on this map. Even though she moved down in priority a bit on the draft, she's still a hero that most of the teams are looking at when they are trying to complement their starting lineup here on Cursed Hollow. For Cloud9, it's a bit of a different story. I mean, they can definitely ban out a frontliner. They could, for example, ban ETC. Yep, they do that. And that more or less forces Gust or Bust into a Johanna, I wanted to say. I feel like Johanna is actually like very valuable here. You don't necessarily have to play, I feel, with a Thrall already set up. It depends also a bit. I mean, in theory, if you want to go melee heavy, for example, what you could do is go into a Sonya, put a Johanna or any kind of like tank at the front line, and then go for your healer. That would definitely work. I think a Rhaegar would be a nice choice for Gust or Bust, and it seems like they agree on that part. As I said before, he's still very, very solid. So Rhaegar is taken. And next to that, you can either take a Johanna or a strong frontliner now and then react with a last pick on to what Cloud9 is doing, or change it up a little bit. And I mean, there is still that Zagara around. So Zagara is like this mix between, hey, I have damage, I have a good disengage with Maw, but I also have like a lot of control over the map. Tassadar, of course, can kind of work against that with his Oracle and also with Storm, just like trying to take those creep tumors down. But still, it's a pretty sweet move to go for Zagara on any map, especially if you want to have like control over the 2 golem spots, 2 boss spots, or if you want to make sure that the tribute, that you have a bit of an easier approach there, can flank your opponent, maybe if you have the additional vision. Lunara has also been a hero that has become a little bit more popular. Right now, Gust or Bust, now of course they limit themselves a little bit. If they want to have a frontliner, they have to pick that last, but they lock down with Lunara, another great damage dealer, so they have Thrall already at the front line who can create space, can really get some momentum. Falstad and Lunara in the back line. Falstad can go into an auto attack build, considering that we have a Mirrodin on the other side, but Gathering Storm is of course another option for him. And for Cloud9, it means that first of all, they need a little bit more damage. Li Ming alone is not going to make them too happy here. So in terms of like damage output, we could, for example, even see a Sonya here. Tassadar plus Sonya wouldn't be too bad. If you play that, have to think about going into a second healer. That could be a Tyrande, I suppose. We have a Jaina still around that you can go for damage. Vala has been played a little bit more often, even though I don't really know if she would like fit in that position here now necessarily. But yeah. They seem to go for the Vala, okay. Now I'm curious to see if they're going to go for an auto-attack build, because that forces her a little bit closer to the entire thing. And they picked that Tyrande after all. Now with the Tyrande, I personally would have preferred a Sonya, to be honest with you. Mirrodin Sonya is very, very strong if you have a double support behind it in particular, and you create a lot of space for Li Ming. This is a bit more of an aggressive version, which of course allows you to do more damage, but at the same time leaves you a bit more vulnerable at the front line. And Johanna, kind of expected for Gust or Bust. As I said before, it should be their preferred tank, considering that ETC is banned out. There's very few options of what you would run with this particular setup as your frontliner. We've seen occasionally the Leoric come into play, but I feel like, especially like in Europe, you don't see it in Europe a lot, and in North America it was a bit more popular a few weeks back, but right now most of the teams go away from having Leoric as a solo support. At least I haven't seen it in quite some time in the games that we've casted here at the End of the Storm. One way or another, we have game number 1 set up, and we're going to jump into Cursed Hollow to find out which team is going to take the lead here at the End of the Storm North America Finals. In the round of 8, Cloud9 going up against Gust or Bust. Welcome everybody to game number 1 between Cloud9 and Gust or Bust. To the left side of the map in blue, we have Mirrodin, played by King Caffeine for Cloud9. We're seeing Dunk Train on Tassadar, iDream on Vala, K1 Pro on Tyrande, and we have Arthalon playing Li Ming. To the right side of the map, it's Tomstar for Gust or Bust playing Lunara. We have Inclusion on Johanna, Talking Trees on Thrall, Dark Chimera on Rhaegar, and Frozen X is playing Falstad. So, well, this is going to be a fun one, I'd say. I mean, Cloud9, of course, one of the favorites. But then again, if we are serious, then Naventic yesterday was also one of the favorites. And they lost against Team Blaze without even taking a single map. So Cloud9, let's see what they can actually do here. At this point, we're having them on level 1 already with a Force Armor taken here. You don't see that every day on Li Ming. But yeah, in this case, Force Armor has actually been taken, so this is going to be pretty interesting. Besides that, talents are pretty much the norm, maybe with the exception of the Cruel Spores here, which is actually more or less a European thing. We've seen that by a couple of the European teams already in the past. but in this case also on the North American server. Vala probably going to go into that hybrid build, which we've still seen quite a bit, running on level 1 with a composite arrow, and of course the multi-shot build has been nerfed a little bit, but can still be a very strong tool. The team's actually starting with a split here, so we're having in this case a tri-lane at the bottom of the map on the side of Gust or Bust. They're running this against iDream on his Vala, who's already pretty low in hit points and needs to well up, so that is not a good start for Vala on the lane. Lane sustain won't really be there. Muradin is down at the top lane. Wow, that shouldn't have happened. I'm not quite sure how King Kafine died here, but he was only up. There was a tri-lane against Thrall, and that didn't work at all. Now that backfired hard. That of course puts a little bit of a stop to that pressure play that they're trying to execute at the top lane. It still allows Gust or Bust at the bot lane to do their thing, so they started to jump in and just like take the first tower down. We have them with the totem build for Rhaegar trying to use that again, and at the same time it is on level 1 indeed the Gathering Storm. Now we've been talking a little bit about Falstad and his option to go into an auto attack build with the setup that is being run here, especially if you think about that Muradin is of course one of the hit point heaviest tanks. And the roam with Tirana Muradin is still ongoing. Cloud9 using the Cloud9 mount, by the way, riding in style here, I'm liking it. But so far, Tirana Muradin hasn't really given them anything. I mean, the first tower is down, an experience lead for Gust or Bust, and they're really starting to put the screws on now. But they haven't lost a hero yet. There's not enough pressure from Muradin and Tyrande. The roams are always anticipated and therefore are interacted with. So that's a bit of a problem that they have here. We're seeing amplified healing taken as the level 4 talent now after Knight takes pawn. We have besides that also again the adjustment with level 4 for Falstad with a Flow Rider. That's of course a very popular talent that we are seeing these days. It's actually like quite strong. And interestingly enough, the Manticore has been picked as level 4. That's by the way what we were waiting for a little bit earlier. That snipe by Muradin and Tyrande. So that was actually being used here quite nicely with iDream together to drop the first target. We're having on level 4 now with the continued Pierce and Power build to reduce the cooldown, of course. Falstad flies up to the mid lane to take over for Collusion, who nearly died to Arthalon. But Frozen X will have to move down to the bottom again if they really want to fight for the tribute here. But first of all, the first concern was really to lose experience. So they were trying to make sure that they are not going to lose any experience over here. And that's why Falstad had to fly in so that Johanna has the opportunity to move away. Bit of zoning going on, but our Chimera is still there. Waits for K1 Pro. Nice dodge against Muradin, stun. But Tyrande still hitting home. Tomster, on the other hand, is starting to poke already. And now we have everybody starting to move down to the bot lane to make sure that they can fight for the first tribute here. Cloud9 at the same time is attempting to get a bit more experience. The teams are both aiming for level 7 right now. But we have nobody really rotating away from that tribute. At least not to the mid lane just yet. They might do that at some point, but for now it's really just all about zoning. King Kafine coming in from the back line, trying to go for the double stun against Lunara. Not working out though, and Collusion is still at the front, but eating a lot of damage, especially from Li Ming. Arthalon always poking from a distance here, but of course Lunara is going to do the exact same thing, and that poison damage is no joke. So she's actually starting to dish out a lot of damage and forcing the opponent back. Well is up for both of the teams, and that's where they're currently trying to get a bit of additional hit points so that they can run with this. Here comes the stun again, this time against Falstad. Good heals from Rhaegar, and Falstad escapes barely. But King Kafine is already on the case. King Kafine, Rhaegar down, and here's the Stormball against Falstad. A double kill for Cloud9. They're going for Talking Trees. Kafine is going to have that cooldown ready in just a couple of seconds. Is he going to get that hit? Yeah, there we go. Arthalon actually with a finishing blow. Could have been iDream actually thinking about it. They get the tribute and they get a triple kill out of it. So really well done. Overall 4 kills against 1 now. Cloud9 definitely showing their skills at this point, and we see them again rotate 2 lanes immediately. Like, this is one of the most important things for them right now actually, that they make sure that they don't lose any experience. That's the reason why Falstad uses his flying ability right away to go up to the top to make sure that he doesn't lose out on anything up here. In experience, they're not too far behind, but I mean that last fight was of course a bit of a blow against them, no doubt about that. Already, Dunk Train here, trying to make sure that he's not going to be ganked either. We're having Tyrande and Muradin, so Miranda is once again like roaming around, trying to see if they can maybe get a kill. And Rhaegar is actually trying to get the camp. King Kafine sees it and says thank you very much. Doesn't take the camp though, and now they can actually turn around. King Kafine with a bit of a misplay here. he got greedy. He wanted the kill instead of simply going for the camp. So he could have stolen the camp away, didn't do that, got a little bit greedy and said like, I want to get the kill there, as K1 Pro was starting to move in as well. But, well, unfortunately for them, they didn't lose out of both. That's just actually pretty good, of course, for Gust or Bust. I mean, like, that was a bullet dodged. Already on level 7 is Splintered Spear. Very popular talent on the North American server right now. We've seen that by so many Lunara players. Look how Arthur is being pressured by Tomster. Lunara really knowing their poke game. So, Arthalon is incredibly low. Frozen X is in the same situation though. And King Caffeine is trying to go for him, but now he eats a ton of damage. Frozen X. Oh, Caffeine! Yeah, well, he doesn't hit the right target here. In this case, Caffeine is gonna fall. Maybe not. No! Lunara actually takes him on. And here comes the shield. Caffeine is still alive. Lunara is down as iDream was able to take her down before Caffeine died. Well played. Cloud9 with some clutch plays here, and they are able to make this work. Pretty impressive. We're having Searing Arrows taken on level 7 for Vala, so still going into a heavy outer attack focus, but having that composite arrow on level 1. Personally, I'm a little bit surprised, or not surprised, I'm curious to see if you're going to see the level 13 talent, because I feel the only reason why with this particular build that is being used by Vala right now, oh my god, look at that one. Well, the only reason why you would actually go for that build is that you're trying to at least get some value out of the Frost Shot on level 13. Disintegrate has been chosen now as well. We're having at the same time now also, as you can see here, Follow Through taken. There's a Cleanse on Rhaegar. We're seeing Haymaker again, so Muradin going for the Playmaker style. Yeah, jumping in already. Haymaker? Nah. Didn't really get in a good position for it, but he was definitely thinking about it. Strafe being used. We have, with the level 10s now, of course, an easy second tribute for Cloud9, or at least we should have. Thrall isn't even moving down to the bot lane, and why would he? The same is true for Dark Chimera trying to take a camp solo here, because they realize that without the heroic abilities, there's absolutely nothing that they can do about it. So the only reason for them to really move in, yeah, they wouldn't really do that. Like, there's no point. There's absolutely no point in trying to go for a tribute if you know that your opponent is already an heroic talent up. We have same time now, Boomerang taken on 7. We finally see the heroics also in play on the side of Gust or Bust, and that gives us Sundering, the Blessed Shield, Thornwood Mines. We have Ancestral Healing, and also, of course, in this case now, the Mighty Gust for Fawcett. One of the best talents in the game, one of the best heroics. And Hinterland Blast has been buffed and is actually quite strong. The problem is that with Gust or Bust, not Gust or Bust, Mighty Gust only having a 40-second cooldown, very few players are willing to give that up. Arthalon, yeah, teleport or no teleport against 3 heroes just like ganking you from every angle, you just have no chance. Fort is taken, that's nice experience that they get here. The fort is actually being taken down. I still don't really understand how you can poison a structure. People have been trying to tell me that it's acid and therefore it just like eats through all of those stones and everything, but I don't accept that. Like, for me, that's poison. It's a poison spear, not an acid spear. So in that case, yeah, I don't know. But well, apparently you can poison a building. That's what I take from that. So today I learned. We have Lunara hopping through the middle right now. And this is an important tribute that is coming into play now. We have, again, for both of the teams, 5 players on the map. And that's now one of those situations where we could actually see quite a bit of action happening. Because, let's face it, this could be a curse. What? Alright, did I just see that right? The owl that just completely didn't hit anything. Falstad is down at the bot lane, was apparently... It was taken down here, right? Yes, over there. Okay, Falstad was taken down. Cloud9 is going now for the first boss. They were actually trying to, at least now they get the vision with the owl, but the first owl did miss the tribute. They didn't really go for the tribute anyway, so it's not like that was the play that ruined everything for them. But it would of course have been a little bit better if the owl would have actually hit the target. Both of the teams now taking a boss, taking their own boss. And I mean, with that, you can actually push quite a bit. So at the top lane, level 13 is going to be there. Feels like, in this case, we're actually seeing Gust or Bust now trying to push with the boss, whereas down to the bottom of the map, it's only False that iDream trying to run with the boss for Cloud9. But up to the top, it's a bit of a different story. Arthalon is already there, teleporting in, and they're trying to defend. They have the level 13 talent, and that gives Cloud9, of course, again an advantage. And as expected, it is the Frost Shot taken. We have Sprint for Taronda, and we have, besides that, also now, after we saw Calamity taken, in the same time, Delusionist on level 13. Now, if Schwimpy is watching this, then of course Calamity is one of those talents that usually triggers him quite hard when he plays Li Ming. There's very different styles when we're talking about North America and Europe, and a few of the talents that are being taken for the heroes. And that's one of the things that we're seeing here, of course, right now as well. Calamity is something that most of the European pros don't really like. Most of them, some do. So right now, Cloud9 is actually getting a bit pressured. We have against Li Ning now also the greater Spell Shield taking Renara, going for the safer option, not going into unfair advantage or any kind of damage challenge. Another Spell Shield on Johanna, and I like this a lot. And again, false stats to try and get the damage in, but look at that Disintegrate again, the value. And Illusion is low and is down. Here comes the Stray from the back line, and that is just cleaning up house. Falstad with a mighty Gust, but that was way too late. Lunara, the only one who's still alive. She's in her natural habitat. She's like right here in the jungle, in the woods, and he's just jumping away right now. It's probably the only reason why she is still able to survive here. One with nature. But for now, we have a big push going on for Cloud9. And I mean, Cloud9, they have 10 kills against 2. They're playing this really well. Even the static shield on the side of Falstad couldn't help him in this situation. Tidal waves, neither. And especially with like this Integrate getting so much value for Li Ning. I mean, look at the damage output from Li Ning and Vala. 26 and 27k. Very solid, especially on the side of Vala here, considering that the most of the damage comes really from the auto attacks at this point. Lunara still with 30,000, a little bit ahead of the two of them, but that didn't really translate into kills. And that's the problem that you oftentimes have. That Lunara is able to get good damage out, but she needs a finisher, someone to jump in and really finish the job. That's of course where Thrall and also nice, where Thrall and Falstad come into play. But yeah, at this point Cloud9 is running the show here, and they're doing an exceptional job. I mean, they take down the structures, they use the curse to the fullest extent. We see them on all lanes, just destroying structures, destroying waves, and they are very, very close to the level 16 talent already. And with that talent, they will have not only a 2-level lead, but also an extra talent over the opponent, and that's of course like the dream in any match that you are going to see here today. Stone Form has been taken. We're seeing also, instead of Mirror Ball, Fireflies have now been taken. Okay, so Fireflies already taken here, and that is actually going to be an interesting talent. I mean, you can spam a little bit more. You have not as many mana problems as you might have before. Executioner even now taken for Vala. That's of course like even crazy damage right now, especially after like stuns and slows are being committed. So that's going to hurt as well. King Caffeine with a missed Stormbolt, but zoning the opponent out and starting to steal the camp away, so that works too. So that wasn't too bad. But this is a very scary situation right now for Gust. I mean, they are far behind, and Cloud9, they are trying to press their advantage. They actually start to go through those walls as well, and I mean, the more damage they do now, the better for them. If you have an advantage in Heroes of the Storm, you of course try to somehow capitalize on it, and that is exactly what Cloud9 is currently trying to do. They're trying to take a couple of the structures out, and that's exactly what happens here. So already a couple of towers eliminated, and this is actually looking pretty solid for them. There's no real objectives on the map that they can take. There's still 2 camps to the left side, but it's on their own side of the map, so they can take that a bit later, and they are going to do that. But one of the things that they're trying right now is to get closer to level 20, because with level 20 they will once again control everything. Bit of a pause asked for by Johanna, so apparently Gust having a bit of an issue. Well, I'm not quite sure what exactly is going on with them, but that gives us the chance to actually look at a couple of times. So first of all, this is one of the camps. These are the 2 camps that are still available, but as I said, they're deep on the Blues team side of the map, so therefore they can take them later. We have, this is the one lane that is not really pushed out, and that's also because the Siege Giants were taken by Gust, so at least they give them a bit of relief. Pause was only a short one, not really a lot that we could talk about in the meantime, but you can still see the talents, of course, here in the numbers. We have currently 90,000 siege damage on Vala and 29k. So iDream actually doing a very, very cool job. Hasn't died yet, puts out very solid damage, always nice poke. And the cool thing about the Vala build is definitely that we are seeing right now that Frostra with the composite arrow. Very nice control during the fights. You have the slow, and that of course helps you also with the Executioner as the level 16 talent for extra damage. And in those fights, that is actually very nasty. And with Vala, I always want to see what happens on level 20. Because normally when you play Vala, you really like the Bolt of the Storm. You really like that. But the cool thing is if you go for an auto-attack build and you use Nexus Frenzy, that range increase that you get is actually helping you a lot. I mean, the attack speed, of course, in itself is already a great, great tool to get even more damage out. But then when you're starting to talk about also the range increase that you get, you can stay at a bit of a safer distance while you're executing the damage. Whole Renewal has been taken, the Starwood Spear now as well. That's the level 16 talents, and a nice combo again with 16 and level 4 with the Airy Gust that has by now been activated as well. So you get your trade a little bit faster. It's all about like the cooldown reduction to make sure that you get all of those hammer ranks spammed out. and you can actually do quite a bit of damage with that. So that's currently what Frozen X is hoping for in these fights. And they really need a win. They need a win. And this is the time to do it. This is the time. You have level 16 versus level 16 talents, so it's now or never. Go in, dish a bit of damage out. Lunara is, Tyrande is already doing that. Lunara is trying to do the same. The poke from Arthalon from the side. And look at the positioning here. They start to flank in from two sides. They pressure the opponent back. They are zoning for K1 Pro, but Dark Chimera is moving in from the side. Here comes the laser. Ah, the Ancestral is too late. Johanna is down, and of course the resets for Li Ming are putting Arthalon in a magnificent spot. He's teleporting away as he's struggling right now, but yeah, Tomster is hopping away and is trying to slow everybody, but resets and cooldown reduction is all that Arthalon needs to also finish Lunara off. Rhaegar escaped, but it looked like Falstad is going to fall now as well. Bam! Zip! To the face, and Arthalon already down as or killing like Falstad as well. It's a quad kill again, and we have 14 kills against 2. This is Cloud9 just showcasing why they are one of the favorite teams to reach the winner bracket final here. They're doing incredibly well right now. So at this point, we have them close to level 20. We have them with the first keep already taken out. There's 2 bosses on the map that they could go for, and iDream does exactly that. So they start to go for the boss at the top lane, which will, of course, start to attack the core immediately. So there has to be a defense mustered by Team Gust or Bust. There's like no, like they have to do that. Mighty Gust is not ready, especially also because Falstad is still dead. So they have to defend against the boss here, which allows now Cloud9 to move down to the bottom of the map, get boss number 2 or pressure a lane. No matter what they do, they will get level 20 because of it. And that's exactly what they need to get even farther ahead. So already the boss is met by Gust or Bust. They're starting to move in up at the top to defend against it. They can't allow it to go for the core. But that also means that it's going to be a second boss taken down to the bottom of the map. And that's of course something that Gust or Bust is very well aware of. The problem is they can't really do anything about it. So at this point, we're having them taking boss number 2. That is already locked down. Things are good. We have level 20 for them. And another tribute spawning as well. This could be a cursed tribute, but it's very unlikely that Gust or Bust is actually going to be able to go for this one, considering that they're 3 levels behind. And I like it. Nexus Frenzy has been chosen. I'm liking that a lot. No Bolt of the Storm. Of course, you're not as safe as you really want to be, but that damage is going to be worth it, and you are a little bit safer because of that range. Already iDream moving in, getting his damage in, using the strafe as well. Down goes Lunara. They are taking everybody down. Hunter, Swiftness, disintegrate with the slows. And that, of course, is amazing for Bala at this point. With Execution as a level 16 talent, having the slow on the disintegrate as well is just fantastic. Dark Chimera about to fall. They're trying to go for Arthalon, but Arthalon blinks in with his Calamity, takes him down, and this is now 18 kills against 2. Another big hit. The numbers alone, 49,000, 44,000 for the 2 assassins on the side of Cloud9. They played an incredible game here. They completed the team wipe, and this is of course the first game ending in the hands of Cloud9 in favor of them. They take the lead in this series with this first map, Cursed Hollow. And a very, very nice and comfortable lead now going into game number 2 of the best of 3 series at the end of the Storm North America Finals. Game number 2, everybody. Cloud9 playing versus Gust or Bust on Infernal Shrines now. And, well, currently, of course, Cloud9 in the lead. They are looking at second pick and second ban. And Gust or Bust, I mean, in the last game, let's just face it, the boys were schooled. Of course, the former team name of them, Kings of Alpha, they have been around for a little bit, but they are still the underdog in this series, and that was pretty evident on the last map. They are banning out Zeratul again. We said before in the first draft already that Zeratul is actually like a very powerful tool for Cloud9 overall, and that's one of the reasons why it was banned out there. Cloud9, they have to make now a bit of a decision of what they get rid of Greymane again. Apparently they're not really confident going up against the hero. They really love to play their Li Ming, as we've already seen. I could actually see Gust or Bust try to maybe like counter pick against them a little bit. What Cloud9 oftentimes locks down, and I'm very sure that they will do that again if they get the chance, is Muradin in their first draft round. So Gust or Bust can take him away. Oh, they go into Azul. I could see Muradin plus Li Ming now taken. Muradin, in my opinion, is going to be an insta-pick for Cloud9. They really love to play Muradin, and King Kafine, I can only imagine him in voice just always yelling, Muradin, 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 whenever they get the chance. And just like screaming for also as long as someone picks Muradin, and then he's going to be quiet. And that's basically how the drafts are decided. It's not quite how it works, but in my head, the voice comm of Cloud9 is always a very, very happy and funny place. So they're starting to troll around a little bit. False set would work too on Infernal Shrines. They just showed their Tigers, but we have seen Tigers played by the ones, and that was actually in the group stage. I doubt that's going to happen today. Could have seen a Liming here, of course, taken as well, but Cloud9 with a false set will have the option to go, first of all, early on for experience and try to stay with false set on lane a bit longer to get additional EXP before they head into one of these shrine fights and try to get the Punisher. For Gust or Bust now, with the Zul already taken, it's a question of how they want to play it. Oftentimes on Infernal Shrines, I feel, not only do you get a lot of value from Zul when you go for the minions, but at the same time you can also like just push lanes as the rest of your team is occupying the opponent at the shrine itself. Zul has so much siege power that you can actually do that quite easily. So you can either do that or you try to go for a bit of a sniper comp. We've actually seen it a couple of times already with Jaina's, with additional stuns. Back then it was with a Muradin and with a Tyrande even. So Muradin, Tyrande, Zul and Jaina is like the ultimate lockdown combo. And that was a very interesting match that we've seen there, with especially the early and mid game, of course, being completely dominated by the Zul teams since they were just going for snipe after snipe. But Gust is playing this a bit differently. At least that's what I would expect. So we have Thrall picked for them again. They already used him in the last game. Didn't really work out the way that they wanted to. Talking Trees was playing the hero there, but they were put under a lot of pressure from the get-go, and Cloud9 was definitely able to make their own setup work a lot better than that. And it's the Orc Brothers united again, apparently. Rhaegar is still a great healer. I mean, we've seen him in the last game, unfortunately, like, miss one or two Ancestrals, but that was mostly because Cloud9 was very good in shot calling, like target calling during the fights, and immediately bursted down single targets before Rhaegar even had an opportunity to use his heroic ability there. It's always a little bit tricky if you have good coordinated players on the other side, especially with the Tyrande, of course, who can easily just, like, go for that additional vulnerable, and that extra damage makes it very difficult for Rhaegar to anticipate who's going to be attacked and, like, when, if it's coordinated properly. So Rhaegar and Thrall, already a pretty sweet combo. We have now for Cloud9 a situation in which we're going to see the second ban. It could again be a ban on ETC, since we're currently looking at a Thrall for Gust or Bust. And I mean, there's no frontliner just yet, so if you ban someone out, it's either going to be a frontliner, that might be ETC, that might be Johanna, or you're saying, okay, range damage is something that you're missing as well, and we want to take something away from you. So that's the two options that Cloud9 has right now, because there's still no range damage for Gust or Bust. They're only looking at a Rhaegar and at a Thrall, but frontline is, of course, always one of these things. We have a false stat already, and we have a Muradin. So against ETC Moshpit, there's already a bit of counterplay. If Cloud9 would add more, they could actually let ETC go through, but it seems like they are really not eager to run into that Moshpit problem. And I can understand that. I mean, a Moshpit can really ruin your game. You run into one bad Moshpit and all over, or good Moshpit, bad for you, good for the opponent, and then you're toast. But yeah, ETC banned out. And for Gust or Bust, when it comes to the bans, they could try and limit the hero pool a bit, or they could just simply say, listen up, we're going to ban some of your damage out now. Because Li Ming is still available, and yes, ban on Li Ming. I would totally agree with that, especially the way that Arthalon played Li Ming in the last game. Gust or Bust had massive problems with her during these fights, with a lot of very good disintegrates that we saw there. How about they switch it over to Sonya? I personally would definitely ban Li Ming, to be honest with you, but apparently someone made that call and said, okay, guys, listen, we can deal with her. We can actually lock her down. A switch over to Tacita, apparently that impressed by the... Or they actually do it. They actually ban... Okay, Tacita I didn't really think they would ban. They were this impressed with the Tacita-Tyrande combo that they said, yeah, we want to get rid of him. I suppose I can understand it in the sense that Tacita is offering also AoE for the Shrine fights, but now, of course, Cloud9 is going to lock down Li Ming. I mean, that is a given. And besides that, I doubt that it's going to be a Tyrande for them. Thinking about it, they could actually still play. They could still play like a double support role, but I'm not quite sure if that's really the best choice here. I feel like locking down a Li Ming right now and then getting maybe a second tank, playing like classic double damage, double tank, single healer might be something that's worth thinking about for them. I mean, in theory, they can just like pick Johanna away, right? Like Muradin, Johanna, and then all of a sudden Gust or Bust is standing there. Muradin, Johanna taken already, ETC banned out, and they're like, go maybe into like a solo warrior Diablo, so that would make it a bit awkward for them and would force them into a very melee heavy setup. So I actually feel like if Johanna's picked now by Cloud9, that would screw with the draft of Gust or Bust a lot. I still doubt that it's going to happen, that being said. But think about what would go on here if they would actually do that. Instead, they're trying to pick the damage away. Now, that would work too. But, well, what we're going to see as a heal, Uther probably. Could be. But think about what happens if they take it at Johanna here. Because Johanna is probably going to be picked by Gust or Bust now. Interesting enough, nobody picked Zagara. Okay, so there's Jaina for the range damage. It also caters again to Johanna with Condemn. She can like suck targets in, and Jaina goes for the Blizzard damage at that point. We've seen a few of the teams actually go away from Warriors altogether and run just like Thrall, Zool at the front line and only damage in the back then. Gust or Bust. Wait suspiciously long for their last pick. I mean, the obvious choice would be Johanna. They're not doing that, so I feel like we're going to see something different here. Another hero that we oftentimes see on this map, quite often, is Leoric, but yeah, nice try. Nova last pick confirmed. What is this, Hero League? Johanna is locked down. Okay, so the obvious pick. And Cloud9, maybe with an Uther. I don't really feel like... I mean, the options are Uther Charism, I suppose. And a Charism would be like... maybe... North American meta has to be an Uther, I feel. Like, I don't see any other healer at this point that would really give them the value that they need against this. And yes, Uther is being locked down. So not really a big surprise. Whoa, nearly spilled my coffee there. That was close. So Cloud9 versus Gust or Bust, guys. Game number 2. Cloud9 is in the lead. Infernal Shrines the map. So let's jump in and find out which team is going to take it here. Game number 2, everybody, on Infernal Shrines. And we have some Zula action here between Cloud9 and Gust or Bust. Currently to the left side of the map, I Dream on Lunara. We have King Caffeine, guess what, on Muradin. Who would have thought? K1 Pro on Falstad, and Dungtrain is playing Uther now. We're having Arthalon on Liming, and to the right side of the map, it is Gust or Bust with Frozen Axe. We're having him on Zul, Killusion on Johanna, Thompson on Thrall, Rhaegar played by Dark Chimera, and Talking Trees this time on Jaina. So I'm actually pretty curious about this game now in particular, because, well, first of all, we have on level 1 Backlash taken. So no shade on Zul, which was so far like the talent that most Zul players agreed upon when they were like playing that style. On level 1 also the Blossom Swell now, the increase on the poison, so that's actually like pretty sweet. We don't see that too often. It's a 20% increase. A lot of people actually argue that it's not too much. Personally, I think that with 20% you can get quite a bit of value out of it, especially when we're talking about the minions on those shrines. Arthalon already under a bit of pressure, teleporting away, but the stun lock against Chimera. Yeah, he's gonna fall here. Caffeine jumped in for good measure as well, and if a dwarf drums on your head, then you know that it's lights out. Talking lights out, Arthalon really wants Talking Trees. Not sure if he's gonna get him. Caffeine is there as well, and Talking Trees is running for his life. Arthalon really wants the kill, and Talking Trees like saw him, was just like, what the hell, dude? Like, finally give up and move back. So it's only one kill that Cloud9 gets out of this, like a little bit of a fight there in the middle, in that scrimmage. But in this case, it happens to be like this, like one kill that really counts. I mean, like, they get a lead in experience, as you can already tell. They already put so much damage on the other heroes that they had to move back now too. The Force Armor as the level 1 talent once again taken for Liming, and we have Gathering Storm now, in this case as well as the talent on the side of Falstad. That being said, up to the top lane right now, Arthalon is already like waiting in the middle, waiting to just like drop another Arcane Orb so that he can at least get like the experience and pressure this back a bit. But it's still pretty normal builds, with the exceptions that we've been talking about. Falstad not going into the auto attack build, especially the Blossom Swell on level 1 for Lunara, and instead of Shade, the Backlash taken. This is like pretty solid. The top lane, of course, with the 1 versus 1, Falstad against Thrall here. The 4-man rotation of team Gust or Bust between middle and bottom is also happening here the entire time. But besides that, the teams are now currently trying to go for a couple of kills, but also level 4 so that they can go straight for the shrine that is now active. Again, the Bone Prison used, but nobody is really pressuring Arthalon like too much. Dungtrain, of course, can later on use his Cleanse to cleanse out Bone Prison if he really wants to, but there's a couple of talents that he can really cleanse out. I mean, for example, if the Sundering is going to start and hit, he can try to just like cleanse one of the backliners as well. It can be the difference between life or death. We're seeing still Lunara starting to move in again, and on level 4, once more Flow Rider, plus the Charged Blast now taken on the side of Liming. So, all damage once again. Arthalon has been doing an excellent job in the last game. K1 Pro, of course, as well on Zvala. This time he's playing Falstad, and we're going to find out if he can really bring the numbers. Level 4 for both of the teams, and again, Jailers taking us the level 4 talent for Zool by Gust or Bust here. Not going into the increased range on the side. Usually that's something that we see by a lot of teams these days, trying to get that poke in. Eternal Retaliation taken as well. Cooldown reduction, therefore. Keep in mind that Knight takes Pawn doesn't do extra damage against the minions on the shrines anymore. Blizzard actually patched that out. It still, of course, does the normal condemned damage, but the talent itself does not come into play anymore against the minions on the shrines, but instead only against the lane minions and mercenaries. Feral Heart as a level 4 talent for Rhaegar. Snowstorm for Jaina. Makes a lot of sense since you want to have more AoE damage, but damage is also something that Johanna gets a lot of right now. Unwanted damage on the other hand. There's already the focus against Talking Trees. Good heals from Rhaegar, but just barely getting away. Both of them have to get out of here, and that of course means that it looks very much like we're going to see another... Yeah, the first Punisher actually won by Cloud9. At least they are still on the shrine. They can still get those particular minions, and they're already at 13. Up against 9 now. Caffeine is activating his trade on Merlin by not really engaging into any battle, so he's going to be on full hit points in just a little bit. But everybody else on the side of their opponent is starting to move in up to the top again as well. And that's, of course, something where they have to start to become a little bit more careful. They welled up a bit, but they have now 23 of the minions. It's still not enough to get that Punisher, so they have to fight once again, with Zool now also taking down another wave in the mid lane and pressuring even more against the structures of Cloud9. But Cloud9 is in a very good spot right now. They're just accumulating minion after minion. They take them one after another. Here comes that lockdown against iDream though. No cleanse just yet. The focus and the kill against Lunara. That's where Jaina comes into play. Great lockdown and then the burst damage. K1 Pro has to move away too. Barrel rolls out of harm's way. And Caffeine, Arthalon, and Dungtrain are eager to get the last few minions. They need 4 more. 4 more, but now the lockdown. Oh, Arthalon solo, but gets away. Dungtrain not so lucky though. You have Caffeine. Is he going to try and go for the minions? It's 4 more that they need. Only 4 more minions, and they are going to get the Punisher. But there's only 2 heroes up at the top for them now. And Cloud9 is starting to really have a bit of an issue there, especially with how well we're seeing Gust or Bust zone this position now. And they are, of course, still far behind. And at some point, they should be able to just like go in and take a few of these minions down, especially with Arthalon now starting to poke with his orb here. So he gets a bit more damage in. Look at Galush, how low he is. I mean, Dark Chimera is trying to heal them up, but the problem for him is that he's running out of mana. Even with the Feral Heart that he's using the entire time, he won't be able to sustain them, so they have to move away from the shrine, and that puts the first Punisher into the hands of Cloud9 eventually. Well played here. So job well done, and in this case they're starting to move, of course, towards the top wall, but they also split a few heroes off to soak experience on lanes. Level 7 for both of the teams. So at least Zool was able to do some damage here at the bot lane and get them some experience. They're having on level 7 now again Nature's Culling taken, which is actually a very powerful talent and preferred in North America overall. I mean, it's very helpful against the Punishers. It's great to just burst structures down, and it is something that they are going to use here. You can really tell how it's already starting to do work at the 4 to the top. So that Punisher gets a lot of value already. I mean, a Punisher, level 1 Punisher, or like the first Punisher, going not only through the wall, but taking the entire fort down, that's huge. That's really big. Falstad, by the way, on level 7 went straight into the Boomerang. We have Cleanse taken as expected, Calamity once more on Arthalon's Liming, and we're seeing Battle Momentum plus Eternal Retaliation, so full cooldown reduction. Full cooldown reduction for Collusion on his Johanna, and besides that, it's the Blood and Thunder, so cooldown reduction all over the place. Blood and Thunder is one of the talents that I personally really like a lot when I play Rhaegar. Then again, if you need Cleanse, of course, then you have to just like accept that you're not going to run with it. But if you just like go into the fight and you just like get those bites off the 2-second cooldown reduction, it's great. Frozen X, yeah, well, he did run into that bush, he had no chance here. 4 heroes immediately going for him, and yeah, that was absolutely no way for him to escape. The same happens for Collusion now. Body blocks by King Caffeine, and what? Yeah, that's the kill. iDream with the last hit then. Well played there. Again, Jaina trying to help out a bit, but you can already tell that right now it's really snowball time. This is definitely Cloud9 starting to snowball a bit out of control. Thornwood Vines taken on 10 now, Disintegrate, the Divine Shield, Mighty Gust, plus also Avatar. Well played thus far on the side of Cloud9, and they're actually looking strong here. They're looking really strong. Arthalon and King Caffeine are taking experience at the top lane, and they're just soaking all lanes. Cloud9 is active on every single lane right now. They're pushing the opponent back. They have the level 10 ability. There's not really a whole lot that Gust or Bust can do about it right now. They have to wait a bit longer, and the Shrine is activating. So at least for the Shrine fight, they should have their own heroics in play. And that can change things, of course, once again. But let's find out if they're able to make some plays there. They will fight on the same talent, but they're still behind in experience. So if they lose in another fight, then this is going to snowball against them quite heavily. Here's also the Skeletal Mages now. A bit of a fight down to the bot lane. And oh, actually the kill against Li Ming. Li Ming down just in time for that Shrine to activate for 20 seconds. She's not going to be in there. Thrall, on the other hand, has been taken out up at the top, so that means it's a 4 versus 4 situation that we're looking at now. That equalizes things a little bit. At this point, we're having, again, the fight here in the mid lane, and Mighty Gust already being used, so that's in cooldown. Trying to get maybe even a kill there. So far, Skeletal Mages have been already used, so they could not really been brought... they haven't really done too much just yet. But, let's see. A bit of a lead now in terms of minion count on the side of Gust or Bust. But especially with Lunara, we have a lot of poke. Keep in mind that the entire setup of Cloud9 is incredibly aggressive. Triple damage dealer plus a single tank. And there comes the heal. Frozen X is safe thanks to the Ancestral Healing, but Lunara is going in with the Thornwood Vines, and that's a kill against Johanna already. Again, another disintegrate, and these resets on Li Ming are just absolutely crazy. Arthalon is jumping in, and he's going to try and get another kill there. He's just lasering around. It's a little bit like wielding a lightsaber. Arthalon, probably a bit of a Star Wars fan here, is zipping it around the entire time whenever he can. And he's having fun on it here, you can tell. I mean, whenever there's a chance, there's suddenly this integrate, and it's just laser time. We'll be on the map. So what we really need on Li Ming, I feel, is an option to change the color of that laser, I feel. And we need a bit of a Sith Lord skin on Li Ming. That would be pretty awesome, I feel. But I mean, either way, at this point, this game is again looking really good for Cloud9. They're currently on level 13 with an unfair advantage disregarded. Instead, it's the greater spell shield that we're currently seeing for Lunara. That Punisher has still not been taken, so they're currently trying to time it. What does it mean? It means you go to 39 or 40 minions, then you go back, you well up, you get mana, you get hit points, and then you move back in, take one minion down, and can push with heroes that are full HP and mana, which makes you really scary. Level 13 now, Glass Cannon even for Li Ming. Caffeine went this time into Avatar. Here comes the Sundering though. Locked down again. Nice Divine Shield Dunk Drain on point. But he himself sacrifices his life to make sure that they get this. He still needs to take that one minion, by the way. Just saying. Jaina is down. Caffeine is also falling. But at what cost, Twitch chat? At what cost? A double kill with Rhaegar falling and Zul as well. So yeah, that was not really worth it. A dwarf against 2, that does not add up. Tomstar is also dying, and Arthalon is again going just for the pew-pew laser beams. So we have now on Li Ming 31,000 damage. Lunara still with a solid 30k that she brings to the table as well. We were talking Thrall, who's at 23,000 hero damage as well. And Zul actually also quite a bit behind if you're thinking about it. I mean, he's currently even in siege damage only at 44,000, whereas Lunara herself is already more than doubling that. She's at 100k nearly. And Arthalon, as I said, he likes the laser beams, doesn't he? So he's once again jumping in, using the laser beams there. Level 16 soon. We're having now level 13 talents versus 13 talents. So right now you can see that after we've seen the Ratma's Blessing on 7, we have another skeleton talent with this Corpse Explosion now taken on 13 as well. Spell Shield plus the Stormfront. So apparently Jaina deciding that she's a little bit too close to the action. She doesn't like that at all. And therefore, instead of going Ice Block or Icy Veins, we're seeing here with the Stormfront saying alright, I'm going to stay in the distance, I'm going to poke with my Snowstorm, and that's going to be it. Not more than that. Level 13 talent or 16 talent on Lunara hasn't been chosen yet either. So usually it's the Starwood Spear that we are seeing there, but maybe a bit of an adjustment that we have from Lunara, because so far at least there hasn't been a choice. K1 Pro at the top lane is actually in a bit of trouble using the Mighty Gust. Rhaegar is down, by the way, and K1 Pro gets also out of this situation. So again, they're starting to move in. Lunara is in the mid lane right now. They're trying to go for the fight. It's 4 versus 4, but Lunara is on her way. Talking Trees is low and down. The reset on Arthalon can go straight for it again. Already using the orb. Can go forward with Calamity, and there's the kill. Nice job, well played. And the resets are strong with this one. Very well done. double kill, triple kill at Cloud9. I mean, they are just rocking it. Starwood Spear, as expected, has been taken. K1 Pro. Alright, why not? I mean, like, why? Because he can. Why did he do that? Just because he can. There's no other reason. He said, like, I want to fly over that wall, so he flew over the wall. That's basically what happened there. It's basically, he says, on the team, guys, do you have a problem if I fly over the wall? And everybody's like, dude, like, I don't know, like, if you feel like it, if that makes you happy, then yeah, do what makes you happy. Fly, little bird. Fly, fly. You're free. Fly. So he flew over the wall, and then he barrel rolled back. And it was a beautiful thing to watch. He's a free spirit. He's a bird. You don't tell Falstad what to do. But yeah. So that happened. Level 16 talents on already. We have a 3-level disadvantage, unfortunately, for the team in red, and they are scrambling for experience at this point. Level 14 versus 17, and I mean, overall, it's another Punisher that's going to barrel down that lane, so there's not really too much that you can do against that. With the 16 talents, we, by the way, have Hammer Time now taken, we have Benediction, and we see Fireflies. It's interesting to see Hammer Time taken, because oftentimes with Flow Rider, you're going for the faster activation of your trait, which we have actually seen quite a little bit, so that you get even more spams out on that Gathering Storm. In this case, it didn't really happen, but yeah. So we're having pressure play at the top. It's the best thing that they can do. It's really the best thing that Gust can do in this situation. Try to take a couple of structures down, go for level 16, and that will at least help them to fight on eye level for a little bit until, of course, Cloud9 is going to hit level 20. But right now, things are starting to look very, very dire for the team in red. Cloud9 is just playing this too well. They are not making any big mistakes here. They're chasing the opponent out relentlessly. Force is now there too. There's the jump. Oh my god. Johanna is down, gets jumped by the Punisher and taken on. Level 16 talents are now there as well. We're having currently amplified damage, imposing presence, and even in this case, the snow crash taken. Basically, Jaina just signaling us, okay, I'm not going to go in there. You can forget it. I'm going to stay in the back and I'm just going to drop Blizzard. That's it. Already the jump straight on the core, and yeah, this is going to be game. There come the skeletal mages again, but they being zip zip. The lasers stuff away, the resets are there. Arthalon is having fun, pew pew pew, and it's just like killing whatever comes in this area. So right now, this is going to be game number 2 and a 2-0 victory for Cloud9, who advance now to the next round of the tournament. Interesting also to see that Muradin in this case, I don't know what he did, but whatever, it worked. GG, well played, and we're going to jump into the next series. And that is it, everybody. GG and well played. The game's over, and therefore also the video for today here on KhaldorTV. We had another great Heroes of the Storm match, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Also hope that you enjoyed the commentary, of course. So thank you very much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up on YouTube. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to KhaldorTV yet, you should definitely hit that sub button as well. If you have some friends that like Heroes of the Storm, then definitely make sure that you show them the channel and also the video. There's a lot more where that came from. We're going to have like continuous content throughout the next few weeks with more Heroes of the Storm matches played, not only on the European server, but also on the North American server, in tournaments, in leagues, and more than that. So guys, once again, thank you very much for tuning in today. I hope that you had some fun. It was a pleasure casting for you. And I'm going to see you next time with even more videos here on the channel. So have a great day and see you soon. Bye-bye.